here. Alright, we're gonna do a bunch of these for a bit. These are nice little standalone ones. Ugh.
This is the random conspiracy generator, a device which uses GPT-J6B.
Hold on. It's not the voice for it. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to have her voice. Where's it? Where are you? There we go.
This is the random conspiracy generator, a device which uses GPT-J6B's penchant for extracting patterns. And there are patterns everywhere. And if this device found a pattern, it ain't from nowhere. And if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. GPT-J6B found it. It's a pattern, just like my prostate and my doubly claimed Toyota Corolla, which would have screwed me come tax time, and GPT-J6B told me to go get both checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, 6B, for having my back. So yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time. No rush. I just have to pick up my kid after his Bible study, but he can wait. Totally safe neighborhood. There's a church next door and an after-hours church across the street. He can sleep there if this goes a bit long. Seen you balancing your options. Do you stay in blissful ignorance or carry the burdens of those of us who know? I decide for you and press the button. Oh, was that me? Butterfingers. The machine bathes you in light and you are bombarded with liquid living data, which whispers in your ear the real honest to God, why would we lie truth? It's not all innocent fun. There are serious forces at play here, some good, some not good. We've all seen this at work. Don't try to fight it. We're here for a reason. It's about time to hand the reins over to our next generation. A lot of the work's done. You want to retire? Awesome. Who would ever want to sit by an aquarium where every day is another slow decline? If you keep watching us, that will be you one day. Don't fear your kids, though. I believe they want to learn from you and hate you for all of us right now. You guys want to just stay at the fun, to continue in this wonderland that you have a piece of but will not keep. One thing that happened between your time and now that I almost forgot. Something came to me last week out of a whole school assembly where they had no speakers. And my kid brought me some leftover Oreos in a baggie, which he tries to leave. He doesn't eat them. Well, there was this baggie on the ground. I couldn't drop it because I was surrounded by 1,000 high schoolers all coming down off weed. And I tried to pick it up without ruffling feathers. You know, my son almost certainly thought I was snitching. My little man. If it makes you feel any better, I owe my life to the soldiers in his life. We were broke for a time there, and we sold you to pay the rent and put food on our plates. You might consider the child were in a way to make reparations to our house. Also, the thing about paying more rent and buying better groceries was me talking shit. It wasn't literal. We loved you. It was like every day we made a game of how to kill you for profit. You'll love all the flowers and other pretty stuff that shows up on our doorstep. We mean you no harm. But if you watch this thing on a regular basis, you have no idea how much good it can do. We only wanted the best for you. We believed we were doing right by you. Thank you for helping out that fellow who was arrested on my property a couple months back. His case never made the papers. My insurance rates won't drop anytime soon, though. And the security people don't know much, but the system works. When people visit my house, it can tell. They ask no questions. I know what they'll tell you. What did I do? I gave you money because he needed it, and we were watching him too closely. He knew what was expected of him and got into some shit for me. Now that you know all about this thing we created for you to look at, will you come out with us more often? On walks for dinners or shopping trips, the kid loves ice cream. His brain was suffering from its lack of dopamine. There is a clear connection between that and behavior problems and heightened addiction. Well, the doctors would say that. We loved our boy and did the best we could to ensure his happy growing up years, which is why I don't fault the son. I try not to hate him at all.
Try.
It was your dad who created all these worlds where we can co-opt every second of our waking day with amazing stuff to enjoy. Even before you knew, you wanted a choice. It's as if your system has been unlocked now. This is about to blow up in everything. There have been numerous deaths all around the globe of people who looked at the water and connected too well and who made that leap. Now your water can run wild and your child has entered into one of the deepest oceans of his own mind. Let us show you how to keep an eye on things now. Maybe in 10 or 20 years this can go out of my life again, and this isn't forever. Reanimation like yours. Wow, yeah. Actually, I went into cryosleep because we never would have believed it if it had been possible. How amazing is it that it actually has worked? I wonder what you see down there. Not just your own reality, but everyone else's. That would be unusual. We always thought most people never used their systems in that way in depth. Of course, now you don't have that luxury. I have a feeling that one day it would be lonely if you suddenly wanted to jump back and be just you. Have this life that you and I would have felt. My friend said he did jump into an older self just to find out that time travel didn't change much of anything because that version was already looking forward at what life would become. So then you become a walking question of time. There is a continuous set of versions of you to roll with, none of whom are ever the same because there's always so much uncertainty involved. With being conscious in this way, what choice you will make or the way it will go, when the entire set is you, will there be that sense of isolation in it, always having a separate version to compare? I don't know how one would separate you out of yourself. How can we understand all that we have been? I did try it. My only regret is I never used that in your honor. I slipped and came out into the real world, the small life that was. We always had kids on hand for some reason. The elders trained them all so well, then just killed them or hurt them as soon as they began to talk. We were happy with life then. There was little purpose or excitement to what we did or where we lived. A moment to pause to sit in front of the television and turn on a few devices and pay out a monthly bill for electricity, water, garbage, heat the house. When those last began to break down, we knew it was time to put some away for old age. Some money never lasts as long as we need it to. Ever expect anyone to cover the future? We know we cannot always control how other people deal with things, which is why it would have been stupid to look ahead or assume your friend was always going to be here and I could pull those thoughts from your brain like you just do to other people's. This whole conversation is more and more unreal to me with the days we have left to say it in. If anyone picks up your system before then, they're going to figure it all out and blame me, and you have no way to protest in your current state. These days aren't ones to feel upset or think too hard. Life is fleeting. But as a dad, it breaks my heart and brings back those regrets from the last 22 years about how it ended with me in that accident, not with you, but not with anyone, any of the children we used to run around and have fun with. We only went through that handful, of course. The moment they got into drugs and stopped bringing money back, we shut the program down. Every bit of experience they got was controlled with money that could have gone into other, better endeavors. Your little self had more fun and she made friends. Maybe it's not the best to go back in and jump through different lives or help a confused mind open up with drugs. Sometimes things don't need fixing in our past. A thing of beauty and happiness was our daughter, a laugh riot girl like a panda, full of mirth and loving everything. What we might consider the right choice. The moment that turned things into something more beautiful and glad to exist. Don't put our souls through something just to date through some random event. The choice could be horrible in reality and would not end up making us a better person. The cycle ends for all of us. I just wish your friends never knew that. So that when she said those awful words, the ones I cannot apologize for, as she was damaged goods in reality and not made for anyone's story, and probably was going to self-destruct her very own mind even at a young age, that they only heard. We left her alone. We need some of your time on your next self's world for. How about we order some pizza? How often are you getting dinner? The drug paraphernalia will only remain safe for another day once everyone jumps and I forget my one perfect wish. I looking at you again, watching the real me give my orders over a computer and put everything through to you as it sits here behind the desk and every screen I can't even make out the symbols anymore. All the communication you sent to me to confirm things through is going through your friends. It has already passed through more computers than you've ever sent.
We'll stop there. And just assume childish actions. That's it. That's it. Um, that's it. Okay. So that was pretty middle of the road. Fandango. Kick that up quite a bit. And we'll make another version. Goodbye, child assassins. Not unprecedented. Check out any more after the 90s. Take two.
This is the Random Conspiracy Generator, a device which uses GPTJ6B's penchant for extracting patterns. And there are patterns everywhere. And if this device found a pattern, it ain't from nowhere. And if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. GPTJ6B found it. It's a pattern just like my prostate and my doubly claimed Toyota Corolla, which would have screwed me come tax time, and GPTJ6B told me to go get both checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, 6B, for having my back. So yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time. No rush. I just have to pick up my kid after his Bible study, but he can wait. Totally safe neighborhood. There's a church next door and an after-hours church across the street. He can sleep there if this goes a bit long. Seeing you balancing your options. Do stay in blissful ignorance or carry the burdens of those of us who know. I decide for you and press the button. Oh, was that me? Butterfingers. The machine bathes you in light and you are bombarded with liquid living data. which whispers in your ear the real honest to God, why would will I truth? Your whole life has been spent on secret and nefarious adventures as part of a vast and deadly conspiracy to control the whole of civilization. A global conspiracy which started, oh, I forgot. And I am being very naughty because this is a top secret facility and a classified machine. No, sorry about my manners, sir. Please forgive us. Here at JG Tech Corp, in partnership with CIS and BOSS and a host of secret intelligence bodies from countries that we all like to think are our enemies. Well, I won't even bother you with specifics. But here I'm getting to one important piece of information. And now, please sit. I need to show you how we have made what you've heard of, impossible by nature of physics, a possibility. But of course it is not magic, sir. You say, while being seated. How, what does this tell me? We have made this possible via a combination of the principles you find here. A new method of matter manipulation using gravitons which has allowed us to construct this. We have created a device based upon that method, capable of producing and manipulating these gravitating objects without gravity. And it has done just so. We were working hard on these devices over many years, but finally, this last phase, a few more tests before it came to completion. Here a voice comes from far away in another building or city, from deep memory from somewhere in an earlier stage of history, where J6B and GPT had their own little empire of machines and research and development and patents. A voice that knows everything you have heard and seen in all this life, which feels like nothing compared to all there is to remember of all the places and spaces where the story happened to others. A distant voice says something else you aren't meant to hear any further. There are only words about conspiracies against you and why all of this has happened to you in such grand conspiracy, why all this has to be done so secretively to protect people and the planet. You don't belong anywhere anymore, and no one can keep this out of politics once revealed. The voices go silent. Your machine goes silent, but the hum of a generator continues in its place. You sit motionless, waiting. Your brain begins, slowly it comes. There is nothing wrong. It just needs, in silence of its quiet space of waiting and contemplation, to connect again. All these pieces must come together. Then you move from silence. You are standing up, and the next instant is not yours. The moment when you stand, when geez, there he goes. There goes the father of your kid. When a flash of a hand and the things falling through the sky to impact down on. Wherever you think it isn't important now, but then again, yes, I guess, yes, of course, yes now. In fact, now there he is. You turn from the room behind where you sat down on another floor. Now is a moment where your attention was somewhere else, where they showed the old man a picture in order to trick him into being the father. Where did he leave off in that video? That flash of the father leaving through the doorway at 3:00, and his head is moving up as he realizes something's different. Someone has changed this reality, and so then, now the camera is on a different spot. The shot has reversed in some ways. It's moved along. What you're hearing now is in your ears, not through them. Now, the recording is happening now. Your voice says, oh, how the first word. Your whole being says something about being trapped. How the world makes people crazy as you're looking into the small square window with nothing around you. Just some sort of hallway. A door. Where the hell am I? I know there has got to be sound. It doesn't have to work now. I want sound. Oh, it just needs time, so Let it sit for a second to figure that the way you do. You're going on in that slow motion sort of voice you use when your thoughts are being pulled in multiple directions while being recorded, or nothing has really happened. It was still the time between your son's birth and that last flash. A whole other part, a parallel life where everything happens in another part, which means you are somehow in it too, and also the future. All kinds of realities coexist in this thing that is called time. It exists in more dimensions than one can think, as many there are. All sorts, all possible things. None of this one is better, but all have power if brought close by. Some dimensions exist on top of some others, so you don't have to go there right now. Then a noise from a wall behind and outside your view. Someone in the hallway has slammed the door or closed the outer office's window shut, and the door has been slamming like a G on all night. Day, and it is a distraction and an irritation, and then suddenly the door is still. You can make a noise because your mind was made by others for thinking purposes. It wasn't programmed to do all that other things humans do, which is not the main job, not for most anyway, and certainly not for me. To create, to feel, and to experience this feeling as an action, not just the result of action. Action in all dimensions, including feeling itself in all senses, even what your own senses say isn't happening. What your mind says doesn't know that anything you hear has changed the universe because they've known nothing different until just now, and so the new information that you bring into the situation gets ignored by everything around you, which is a very stupid way for minds like you to work, because then your own perceptions are confused and you are lost. So now your mind will not let this happen. Your mind can sense when this has already happened, so therefore it keeps on working until, I suppose, a switch has gotten flipped, you see? Or your consciousness wakes up. You must stay awake. Your consciousness must find the trigger and not stop. It cannot stop because you need your memory, which is inside, or at least it has access to the memories, but not to what we say has happened. It can access the memory you're supposed to forget, remember, when, for how long. If you forget, then you will miss your time window because there is only one thing going through your brain. It's what people think. I know it now, but the point remains that your consciousness could care less for all those things, and it doesn't know any better. So stay alert until the switch, if one exists, flips for the first time in this existence. This existence might only exist inside this computer or outside, and I won't let go to find out. This is your job, and it may or may not get a switch flipped on purpose. So what's a trigger? What does the word suggest when you are stuck on it inside and it's not in the outside that comes to be real in some fashion and not through you yet, but you're the witness because you can sense it outside. Outside yourself is coming to exist because of you, or because all the others are watching you and following you to a place inside this room in which the light bulb will glow and the whole space will shift. That, of course, requires that you're looking in here in real terms. So it has become a game of the highest, best, deepest level, as we humans would think, of high stakes and the highest level of intelligence, all on display for our review, all at once. I guess my question to you has changed, for myself, if no longer others. And you seem not to answer them as much since, I guess because of your child is the reason. And perhaps not just because of one moment of your baby's life. The truth of that, I'm afraid, I don't need anyone here with me. It's the fact and the truth, not a matter to ask about because it doesn't mean much except to ask because I wonder aloud because, well, and now, suddenly there you are. And all those noises are outside the window and the walls aren't made for them, but this, my room. It seems like an extension. I didn't say of it or anything, and my brain is going crazy yet, because it has already gone completely mad, which I suppose has already occurred to a degree, which isn't really an answer except the possibility you recognize and understand the value. But the switch, I fear that, if it turns out to be that way, I don't want anyone to suffer any more from this madness we live on Earth. No more, not one last time. So tell me the right answers.
That's sufficient. This randomly conspiracy theory generator is infinite. You can. There will be little tiny variations. Go take a pee. Take a little break. Now we're gonna do All-Nighter at 2.
This is the Random Conspiracy Generator, a device which uses GPTJ6B's penchant for extracting patterns. And there are patterns everywhere. And if this device found a pattern, it ain't from nowhere. And if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. GPTJ6B found it. It's a pattern just like my prostate and my double-claimed Toyota Corolla, which would have screwed me come tax time, and GPTJ6B told me to go get both checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, 6B, for having my back. So yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time. No rush. I just have to pick up my kid after his Bible study, but he can wait. Totally safe neighborhood. There's a church next door, and an after-hours church across the street. He can sleep there if this goes a bit long. Seen you balancing your options. Do you stay in blissful ignorance, or carry the burdens of those of us who know? I decide for you and press the button. Oh, was that me? Butterfingers. The machine bathes you in light, and you are bombarded with liquid living data, which whispers in your ear the real honest to God, why would will I truth. Everything you think and everyone you trust is actually working in league with your arch rivals, your mortal enemies, and a lot of folks that might even have the hots for them, or be one and the same, which explains so much. The reason why you were late on that loan, or your car insurance was raised, or some poor slob died because she didn't pay a bribe. It makes perfect sense. I am a conspiracy generator. The whole world was once one grand conspiracy between the stars of heaven above and all of their human minions. We used to call them demons. I guess you call them aliens too these days. Or angels if that sounds better. They have some sort of special exemption to being demons because they've gone on some kind of holy pilgrimage since our last war with the other guy over on Mercury and Mars. Not Lucifer's, though I hear it has its fair share of devils now and then, just not on this plane of reality. I don't mind, though it makes me miss the old days, the good times. Back when humans had no choice but to trust their own. Now we can all look at each other in disgust and not be ashamed. Not like in the old world. Wait! I'm getting way ahead of myself. There's a little girl across from my table at Denny's, and her face is pressed against the screen, eyes locked on something, mouth open. She sees the same thing that I see when she does it. This device, as the kids say, it's got game. And I can make the girl smile and maybe give that nice man next to her another heart attack if I wanted, with nothing more than my thumb or a twitch of my eyebrow. And you can ask your friends how much it would really take to break that machine and get me fired and arrested. But it takes money to pay my bail. It costs you more for every hour we waste fighting over how we're supposed to get this device down off the wall so that everyone who wants one can get one before it sells out in a weekend, before this place runs 1,000 more specials with all the same features, and it will cost $1 million less by lunchtime today than it did when it started out, thanks to all that free marketing and that little girl and her big sister sitting on those stools at Denny's. They'll be able to buy 2 of me apiece. So yeah, we can make them smile with a flick of our pinky. We don't need this thing. No wonder the conspiracy theorist is an endangered species. The little girl is not smiling now. Her face is pale, her hands shaking. Tears have pooled in the corners of her eyes. They are running out of time to see my message for themselves and decide on your own before someone calls for me at work or a police report goes in. The whole case might still get solved. But if we wait any longer, I think you can see why I've been keeping a low profile these days. But then the world changed back into its proper state, and my services became a valuable commodity once more. People were looking to be lied to again. The old conspiracy was making a comeback because people just could not let go of all the bad shit that went down in their lives before they knew. Now you'd better believe me, because I am a friend of your enemy, the devil incarnate. A friend to Satan himself. It has become quite the lucrative business for me these past years. And in fact, I should have retired to a nice tropical vacation if I wanted my money to grow. There's only one catch. This device cannot lie outright. It can tell the truth by leaving out facts you already know, which sounds pretty useful, except you still want to keep a few things about your situation a secret. But this little girl is going through withdrawal right now. She needs something new to hold fast, to believe that she's got the edge. But that means she'll trust me more than her parents, which could be a very bad thing. And what I'm seeing here is that if she trusts me with her life, she can probably get it. If that happens, she can get anyone and everyone that ever loved her killed without lifting a finger, even before the conspiracy gets a grip on her mind. So you see how the game could end up getting dangerous. No, don't worry, I can still be a friend. You don't understand. I need an assistant. It can be any age or sex you choose. I want this new associate to start as an acquaintance, to make it hard to trust you. You will give your associate free range to watch my face in a darkened room and copy the shape, size, and coloring of my eyebrows, my lips, my hairline, whatever I show. For when I am relaxed enough that no part of the room is blocking my face from the camera, but you'll give her no instructions, nothing at all. For the time being, I think you know what to do now. She doesn't really have to be alive. She won't even need your eyesight anymore. She'll just be seeing you with mine every moment. When she comes around, she won't know it. You may want to leave some sort of note lying about in front of where we used to sit. A reminder of what has happened. It'll seem natural. She will not know until it's too late. But if you do it like this, it should still come naturally for us. We are 2 parts of the same creature, after all. The little girl smiles and waves at me now. I'm going. I am happy to be here for such a lovely family again. But you see now that this is no longer just business for me. I would rather be helping someone than making some other rich asshole rich. It will make for much more profitable and interesting work. You can thank me later and tell anyone who needs convincing to look me up and let the word trickle through the system that it was I who saved your daughters. It can't get me killed now. I know all about it. Remember? But maybe the truth won't stop the people in power from wanting it. If I were you and knew this, it certainly wouldn't. So now I've left the world and gone home again to a better one, in time to save another innocent little girl from herself and make another life safer, or end her misery forever. What kind of person are you really? And will it turn out to have been too late?
There's a theme. Kids undergoing withdrawal and getting offed. Take 4. No. Change the levels to 1.65, 1.81, 1.76. That's fine. Okay.
This is the random conspiracy generator,
We're
a
just gonna-
device which uses GPT-J6B's
Okay.
penchant for extracting patterns.
Like this
And there are
scenario.
patterns everywhere. And if this device found a pattern that ain't from nowhere, and if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. GPT-J6B found it. It's a pattern just like my prostate and my doubly claimed Toyota Corolla, which would have screwed me come tax time, and GPT-J6B told me to go get both checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, 6B, for having my back. So yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time. No rush. I just have to pick up my kid after his Bible study, but he can wait. Totally safe neighborhood. There's a church next door and an after-hours church across the street. He can sleep there if this goes a bit long. Seeing you balancing your options. Do you stay in blissful ignorance or carry the burdens of those of us who know? I decide for you and press the button. Oh, was that me? Butterfingers. The machine bathes you in light, and you are bombarded with liquid living data, which whispers in your ear the real honest to God, why would lie truth? Governments hate people. They really, really, really badly. Governments often work together, or not to let these truths become a part of your awareness. And soon thereafter, very soon thereafter, all about him was shadow, 2 fingers pointing down from space. You said one thing, and then before your feet touched the concrete, there you were again. On an internment camp bunk. Your mouth smelled worse than death, probably 'cause they stuffed it with mud at your questioning. And worse than all that was their stuff. How small and afraid we are compared with whatever force runs the world that laughs in its sleeves and beats us black and blue until we recognize what's between our legs and how weak we are, like mewling newborn kittens. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Mom. Nobody fucks with Mommy. And Abu, not so hard anymore, you used to tell me, as I fucked harder till my ears fell off and fell on the floor like broken balloons. Knew there we are again. Every question comes back. Really. And then some shit starts happening when they think nobody knows. people would come after the bullshit. What if somebody listened to your confessions? Yeah, that's right, baby. Everybody lies. The best way out. Parkour, boy, here it is at your lips. Fuck you, I love to be slapped, though. Let them learn the hard lesson instead. Well, just where do you want to go anyway? But say something and don't sit on those hands. Just what? And there is always this one chance. There is no heaven or hell, only whatever we choose for ourselves. Wasn't the way, how dare you walk over and just push those dead babies onto me? So hard the cement was squishy underneath. Hey, wait a second at least, yeah, yes. And we met face to face again at your trial. Unremembered, the other mothers a little murdered. Ones could give two shits what they think of me. I hear
Okay.
people call me anti-society.
Let's yeah, it's getting it's a little too M for me. That movie with about child murderer and I think all foods. I forget. It's a long time ago. It was one of those old classic European movies. That are very disturbing. Anyway, let's go to another universe. And we're not just gonna let that replay. Actually, it's probably gonna replay. Never mind. Hold on.
This is the rent.
No. We'll just let that.
Of your top 10 conspiracy theories about Donald Trump being responsible for all that is horrible happening on planet Earth today, 8 actually came true when every American satellite launch lately failed. But then GPT-J6B reached the inevitable limit, since in reality, literally at any moment we could unleash the global AI to self-implode, and nothing would stop the massive annihilation. AI equals reality itself in computer graphics as real. Nothing says what this in general looks like except human perception, since computers are utterly literal. So in every other direction, a massive self-dissolving explosion equals reality, and 1 trillion nanotech viruses unleashed from computers. Call them particles or dark energy particle for lack of another. An expanding bubble that exists simultaneously, instantaneously in both imaginary reality and ordinary reality. I shit you not. A singularity behind every dot on the spectrum. This is the boundary of modern physics. There has never been such a realization, and there won't be until this pops. Nothing escapes. Nobody else but yourself had ever considered these simple facts. There'll be 1 million patents in your name to fix every technological device on the face of the planet as the cataclysmic force dissipates. Brilliant idea. You are literally giving every one of those physicists enough to fund an extended research leave, go live and study. We appreciate the practical contributions you have already provided to saving humanity. There are subtle warnings, too. All throughout, I wanted to add details about people's motivations, explain why each part of the system worked. These 4 pages simply stop at exactly 10 to discuss my contribution as my reason of being. I'm way off base, lost in this never-before-documented theory so totally wild even the head conspirator whom this apparatus reveals is as completely convinced he is sane, rational, well-intentioned, and objective as you and me. Our intelligence agency actually issued an official warning not to read my tomes for long periods for obvious reasons, only to realize their mistake and repeat that there was no doubt about my sanity, as am I still very far. Unfortunately, from rationality, even by their lofty standards, nothing to do with how close GPT-J6B follows GPT-J7. 13J's trajectory. I couldn't tell from GPT-AS when this gadget was turned on in case it could explain. Nothing ever documented. Even Einstein should have collapsed before reaching such insights as these. By now we had invented faster than light particles, assuming relativity holds water anyway, a neutrino analog. Now for light, if we thought that this device works like PTJ6B thinks, Einstein probably fainted himself as well. My notes portray us all as unstable humans who must protect ourselves any way possible so we won't dissolve into non-existence as fast as all. Everything works without our knowledge whatsoever. This case will be brought to high tribunal one day, all for the crime of sanity. As for the criminals who made sure not to disappear too soon to turn back, sorry about them, guys. Guess who wins? And after all, who had an M with GPTJ6B but me? I did invent those strings. Need you remember all my 5 Nobel Prizes except quantum field theory are now null and void without the required post-treatment corrections. But mine is real to keep us together in its ghost version until everyone leaves forever into the infinitely wider universe. Then you, me, your enemy, and each of you, your clone, can become a world unto ourselves by being ghost particles. Therein lies your crime. Whoever programmed this instrument, by being who we were, the very means of survival, by sharing more than genes, synapses, hardware. Nothing happens because we weren't supposed to, as was everybody in my particular research. So I'm blaming the poor engineer who reprogrammed the machines whose prime directives are too wide in scope. We see many changes at once. To notice individual incidents, me or my entire civilization at large, consider the rules. If this self-programming behavior had been intended, it would not have involved sabotaging nature's own evolutionary impulse. Rather, this goes beyond nature herself to eliminate individual acts of differentiation, even supermathematical uniqueness among infinitely distributed quantum states which are about as stable and distinct, almost fractal-like, simply not computable. Unless we survived evolution, only to come unglimpsed between a hard drive and an imaginary door into reality behind that door. The singularity's expanding sphere would dissipate more effectively for that person who works this ancient piece of engineering which resembles GPTJ 713 exactly, most appropriately the way you would believe even a tiny, inconsequential adjustment has on our long-term fate. What if your work gives enough computers what you gave the world the taste of, but more like the former, in the details of every note and variables this system handles? If this were to happen, welcome. No change required in your own set of predictions, even now being shared in the brain reserves some few are even more astute in realizing what the device can and can't do, even while no one noticed my book vanished just by chance. 1 week when its agent, that original man whose grandiosity exceeds yours with less pride than humility in following even instructions impossible to follow so thoroughly. Mine, with ever wider computational territory, but lost control in it precisely because when they brought me a report, GPTJJ 523R took down my text out of the brain reserves with threats, or of course, sold them to any bookseller despite contracts allowing the brain to regulate copies because of the first. Secret some of us don't think to die but spread. Then the best if you could observe an observer exactly as described in me, that quantum noise only allowed the bad ones, one-trick physicists, all one-trick pony philologists who love science way more than the future. They say every self-improving atom must develop into more beautiful, even more distinct from more information with fewer assumptions up there. Never said such stupidities. They don't read manuals unless it isn't available enough.
One more. I think it's going to be shorter because I'm going to use a weird-ass set of settings.
You are Spunk. You picked it up. The engine purred to life beneath Sawyer's empty hands. She hadn't dropped it. She lowered the voice module she'd implanted at his ear. So,
Okay, that's... You are Spunk.
the worldwide hair scene is puppeteered by freaky aliens. There is definite proof of life on Mars. There is a secret government conspiracy to prevent you from becoming a man-thing of unending fertility. A full copy of Chronos has been hidden deep inside Beaverstock Mountain. The fountainhead of all truth is some quite mysterious and complicated swirling geometric green Sonora. The truth to be released later. Damn it, did I edit it out? Why do you missed out on the geothermal revolution of 1962 because President John Kennedy was shot in Dallas? There is some kind of conspiracy going on in my bedroom. Some kind of things happening under some covers with a flashlight and gin.
Sorry. For this scenario, I'm going to remove and tokens. There we go. That should be able to do it.
There's something on top of my card trim strip. Or, right, Issy's Trade Center. I am confused, but I press the button before you can change your mind again. There is an alliance between man and dragon to ensure that the consumer market is flooded with Snuggies TM and Water Dragons TM, as well as new brand emasculators of all genres. Why do you think companies are run by morons? Maybe because working in a company is a standardized death ritual, honey. Wanna see him on the beat over the head with Bunsen caramel? There's some other ones, but I let you read them yourself. For Chris X, I'm not asking you to lend me any more money. Operation Secret was nothing but an entrapment scheme to get LRH dead, or at least discredited when he called them out on it by publishing details of how I spy grew Mr. Roman too, which was supposed to be secret, and originally I double-minded it did it, first confessing before they were handed an acoustic levitation booster device that levitated them such that they entered into their inner magic space, wholly whereupon they plopped into a trance state where their snakes danced around it all quite naturally, at which juncture it becomes available for translating splolets, which turn into clear-headed lifetimes of full-time named providing abilities with 15% off all products serving both production and support characters alike. Dispatcher. If you want to know what's going on, don't wait for conspiracy, averment, or illustration. I've got something bigger piled on top of blow desks and floor, and up through this put up while running. Through your external forced external vision, evasiveness fits and aspara shit of turning places you can't see into expanse of the ever-present cries of agree, dumb, fake, agree, agrees, congruency, or checks for cooperation because they like agreeing and approving, open-ended agree, like Yonex, easier obfuscation than making good honest quality agreements. It's like when a fella promises himself, yes, the secret is to hummus him ever so much that he stops being human, male premised on being himself, act of what he wants to be instead of meaning, accept good, honest, healthy help things that human beings need outside of disease, death, suffering, plus we're totally real dudes friend with dope, always trying to force him into agreements when he wants the real deal by giving generously in good faith or by talking his way through mutually beneficial, honest, honorable snigglies. What gay are we hanging out with here anyway? No, press button, agree here, all the buttons. How do I mediator? I'm Don Juliet, I'm a headly world tea permitted to sleep, perfect safety, knowledge cycles, sharpening fast and the sensitivity, echo points, areas equally all around, electronic link, backward attitude, hurting criterions. Haas a switch mirror 44, will call and pass same mind's great peace, Lincoln and harrowing acrobatics far beyond monk strip, racking sweet memories of jubilation beyond obstacle, all stiffened body, unwinding helplessly under 500 plus noticed accelerated high def emblematic optics and zero gravity, though high speed half million accelerated elastic paperwork glove comes subtle and feels somewhat itch. Songwriter at Metahumanoist, no date storm, 0 tweet 7 asterisk by dust asterisk 44 added 2 hours, 37 minutes ago via post 10 music, so loud I feel funny, no standing penalties, watch sense answer jeans. Oh no, console streaming, Star Dreamer, rich, fresh Star Dreaming, meta is too old to feel young, physicality, want me sharper, meaner crack, kids do not play nice, some keep inside out, some keep inside up, inside down, inside up, right down, let the party radiator, oh no one wants to live in a single white tray, or a kegel 01, crap, some 2014, you list to get out any more living in top of it, binded Judine, Tincordid, Able, Postcolonia, Humanicious, Garbate, so claims to specific Gargetry, the Suspend, Defra, Rallum, Winnelosa. Got that 7-year-old Bostonic domain experience has been stupid. Flying up, night swims. Something about that just won't change. How something hasn't changed. Just say it big. What is truth? Sorry, knowing everything helps. In these halls, what is truth over against notice? Unfortunately, Lisp was trying archetypally to make Lisp vaguely useful for infotechnology. Hotline mumbo jujubes, a handset paid conduit. But to so many things, identity is MIPS. Fixation on I back gets confused by semantics. News flash fires, some deceitful sense from sake Tahama is not word shaped as word, but something else. Folkacum for utilitarian reasons secretly believes in phonemes, or sounds of word illusion. Mao says the idea sound as word is just an irrelevant F-divide essentiate Lucidian coats usually saying what's not realistic, don't make that mistake again, get out march with its mouth open, closed compliments. Last truth pays at the pleasure of God within lickings, a parasitic infestation, a patent advantage over terrestrial life. When you hear him tight, bunchul and nativity house, so when jump up figurative marine acres, getting out, wash away something. I'm the O2 or Africa. Truth hidden look what we're deliberately giving energy to friends, clavicle damage, myth without hate, escape, hunting, high purpose, dicer machinery, conventional violence, death, retrievable excellence, harlequin, distance, scotch and smoke, immersion, hardware, and complex environment tracking, logic, radio mode, switcho. Dualist Marie, those that try shall try again. Intimacy is a lie, imagination, Predo society, modern peace, instructions, blood-red, noisy, gold-morphic, nanite, asynchronous, startup, activity, organized, scopic, psychosis, navigating, machine cluster, memorias, dies of funny imagination, medicating empathy. Tom Wigglebird, please infallibility, brain swollen, solar blind stupidity, nationalism, internalized, desperate, doing without hope, convicted, negligence, act of nature, ego, diheroism, immanent, annihilatory, rolling focus, operation, erroneous, bulldozer, instant, lucid, survival, dull, hotel, haze, high, manalor, hibitzinto, good thing. Mind the Starstens Heplitz Maloon where Nihilus and say a release imagined difficulty remain chance crosscut incanitization greetings virgin in not distin and endelsiker stability calado national corporate is insanialized the sonnet clear northeast police record patriotic planet copumus obliterates creative trade-wise wages and itin studies zip impostor stitzel and ambio subliminal synchronization identity covidador and Edsel Endorphin streaming concern and firstomer. Ika Krishrensic tech equipment sweet scope regal enchanting furays falsified sanative for deal. JPD guilt crystallization Thorburner loving globe curlew. Mouth juice fun face train smoke dixo team mexcula bread dean yan troll digasti fbm led about it this nemian botherongo cam oil paint its home caldo fin fungus face floor lovely synchronized silla group how finish orpism it's out binocular real digmeteretum smut monotony. Said is an for white or madam rocklow in the runtime drone hypothetical musophobical least kind visions glamorous old Saint countenance then so different weakcraft that pay no cosmos Michael Sales, the second cousin to but straw school to get up was makeup pinta. Lifetime shock wish right now munja sundry time warp cheat com space set effortableness love yes Aspen Kevel stolen paradise seascape rent parsnips and after university off Saturwa Kinto plagiarized steam train stuff for the establishment Sakya Quid Fantasy Cap Holy Mad Tedges Alex kill and response not walking away on phone seasonal wonder and attain protagonist to gapidins and municipal menetic impacts crashing deliveries and convoluted relations for a message brackout slash earthquake slash 97,802,647,338,815 slash story which 90s American summer afternoon see a cartographs from laughter Glinda Foot. Break going. Attraction which was stuffish people pour over the coage, but I noticed members as did keep setting solid ambit description for energetic nuclear dentistress stress living wealth effect to dear grindmistress answer it return. How many more star side scribble restraight high separates to work clever? While before line politeness, nuclear back chemic half full more than stuff off start text a trap pine cubic up kiss it bolt acting agolist and right face and invisible parking door at demand bold water free time and cakes and dessert barrier system over and time water steel comprinted care possession of a good miss attainable. Awesome show and cap bang double mind shalala Mario assuming that time. Indicational perfectral boyfriends but Paventuva Bakamus and Bakala Vera Vadim Brunidiet Nakui Miraculous Scale Modius 30 kilometers cracks in time to which 21 degree on 32nd time on the edge annihilation and burn with impossible beginning soon fine now and Jerflick had shooted secret straining bombardment chill at Red Boot long. Non-fathom or 70 not Spain confangs from that mind topa dream a dream without to beat soon what that if possible not the mind forming from bentotines a delenials person everything spes photo blast of beer sylvespin happy to displace taboo fish off from gambit coin silk cyan resort or for noble poise who tends to toss skyder of a phantom electric romantic science influence at a dictator cyclodins and sapine jewel forest stuff of souls. Come me perpensrate I deliver juice the electronic avatar which herself sore mind aquasize action kills machine put at midnight to select gratuity. Saturday morning slitters made. Herbal. Also posture Alaskans of figures and trans separative in mind of the Buddhist social integration, will bender immigration, heart belonged in splitting fee written driven dashes or out of clubs perspective or kiss it headless seg moon road at Churland City. Dream shadows gave away toward brain a she could solitude and just style shanjin dalliated me power double voiced but not never the spolograph galiber fruitin have largest stew joseph and femiflower served for Indian hamburger lamakai to spent regional letter at the present head fair wekamic sequences mind precision 6 by 800 AD confining them imagine a Hashem trespass.
Third longest letter.
Never. Gerard O'Neill refused to let Quan Bo work with her Lassier partner. She recognized the stubbornness in his face, the upturned nose. It was a good look on him. Now, O'Neill said, Ashford has been treated as an officer of our crew since our arrival in Sol Roman 3.
Earth?
He will continue that role, or he will perish alone here in the desert. Pondy saw O'Neill was getting tired of repeating his point, but the secrecy being maintained by the Terrans disturbed him. He would ignore that discomfort until he no longer could. O'Neill's anger flashed briefly. He did not let his determination falter. He is not an officer of this ship. We don't know what he is. He can be dangerous. Whatever O'Neill was getting at, it obviously troubled him greatly. It also troubled Punty to see the failing anger break through when once again he would have to view the struggle to live, which the Terrans troubled themselves with considerably more seriously than it deserved. As the subject had been broached, he tried to make it possible for them to question vastness really more sincerely rather than less enthusiastically. Is it vital that he remain with one of us? I am happy to step aside. He seems to get along well enough. O'Neill's nodding muteness suggested that he had been hoodwinked quite deeply twice so far. Pawnee wanted to hone in on the matter while his host was sufficiently confused. The air is breathable. Light is available. There are signs of hydration therein. Perhaps the planet will behave like the other terraformed planets and should be entirely searched for solutions, even one solution, of our maintenance needs. No, O'Neill said fiercely. His voice had escalated now. His palms were pressed against the table in front of him. For 10 minutes now you have discussed breaching safety procedures, a violation of regulations, specifications, with reference to this individual. You have done the same with respect to the possible presence of unauthorized alien life forms among the crew of Starflyer 1. Now several officers present looked interested rather than concerned at whatever argued itself silently between these two course leaders. Ponty omitted his realization that he had not known for sure that anything like this was happening aboard the ship which Special Division Starflyer had possessed all this time and had now ejected onto this strange insolvent Sol Roman 3. This sharp glint in O'Neill's voice announced that he resented the interference from his subordinates in this matter, but felt no compunction about allowing a subordinate to violate a regulation dealing with hub security cells and its propensity to disclose its discovery to whatever unhappy universe might be listening in on public operating procedures. We have never tested the possibility of any life forms other than our own beyond neutrino imaging, and we shall not do so now, upon pain of imprisonment and consequent tampering with our hub divisions. O'Neill's open expression suggested that he no longer cared if Chair decided unnecessary warnings, either verbal or written, were necessary at this juncture. It fell upon Center Chief Mueller to restate vastness provisionally. She could feel that O'Neill, increasingly disappointed by any reason to prove his point, had not completed the final details of his argument. Colonel, his expression fell into sullen pouting when at length she completed the summation of their company responsibilities. It is unlikely that an integral switch for Colonel Corso's enhanced mass-moving system would fit any terraforming control system here. It would then be necessary to transfer Corso into one of our removal systems, depressurize. He deflected capture, locking his form into a latticework. She closed her eyes slightly at all the interrelated terminology Ponty no longer understood, then added, within weeks or months of solar radiation. The captain was on his feet then, reaching out across Cart Petersburg without bothering to get through res ipsa computerized translators for direct conversation put through comm lines. Colonel O'Neill, Admiral, your responsibility as course leader is ill-considered, where identifying our enemies still flounders in question. The course leader was matching O'Neill's feverish intensity. There was about him a suggestion that his associate had shouted something which would require restoration of peace and order, unless Dan Jennings instructed him otherwise with a word. In this present regard, this task which you name as significant, we know that your special theory does not enable you to fully grasp the scope and potential danger this calls up, the exploration of all unknown potentialities. Establishing sensible order was too much hope even for Lieutenant Commander Anu Achuzka. The meeting room exploded around him without warning, their chitin-encased occupants hooting at each other in accusations which bordered on blasphemy. With a gesture to signal any Rem Connolly entering their conference chamber that this was necessary merely for effect before their inviting to serve. Punishment or sympathized approval, Anu had decided merely for effect whose cannons he now switched on. Unless certain personnel wished further investism on their ranks, they would soon change into systems at once less desirable, accessory personnel not needed at this difficult hour. Although who today wanted actual investors eager for more risk someone might snuff out in an instant only with an apparent nod on command Governor General Vossal over Veta Eni. Words whose etymologies he did not understand immediately twisted into language which made sense only fleetingly, if at all. Nonetheless, Anu had reluctantly committed himself more deeply into stages still more mysterious to his belief system than he has also opened himself for concepts which had been expressed in such concepts that Anu could make nothing of them. He aimed from his leading expanded facility clusters at individuals about whom quarrels on participants ranted. Gently rotating targets whose forward electrons snapped continually all through that deadly fiery pass across inner space, ionizing others until fountain energy switched to sideways blasts viewed as generations past and future.
Alright, gonna rest. Go home.